Oh yeah! This is happening!
Hey there, everybody. We're back with some Sonic 3 and Knuckles in Sonic Origins.
Scopelli.
Scopelli. Hey there, Juke. Welcome. How are you doing today? But yeah, we're gonna pick up where we left off in Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Is the plan. Let me push a button and make sure this is actually gonna work. Oh boy. But yeah. It should be as simple as pushing 2 buttons. You're gonna hear the game before you see it. Say that now. Or not. Go ahead and make me a liar, game. I forgot that turns off. I'm sorry to hear it's been a rough one for you, Juke. Hopefully this stream can help you kind of chill out and maybe help correct for that a little bit. I've been doing alright. It's been a busy day, but nothing I couldn't handle. So, oh my, before we start, it's this button. My boy's flying around. He's just touring around Angel Island, having a grand old time by the looks. But without further ado, let's figure out where the heck I was. Oh, Mushroom Hill. Okay. Shouldn't be able to see my cursor anyway, but... Oh, I forgot to turn down the stream delay. Let me do that right. Never. Ah, boy. Well, YouTube's dumb, but... So we're back to normal delay. It's still not horrible. Been a hard week, but I'm getting some new glasses tomorrow, I guess. Says Juke. Well, hey. Gotta look on the bright side sometimes. But yeah, I'm sorry to hear it's been a rough one for you. Things have been pretty busy for me. Midterms and everything. Oh, boo. Let's hope that I remember where this is appropriately. I may have to take a second and get a guide out because I completely forgot to do that before I hit the go live button. Oh, I don't feel like dying today. Because I know there's one like up here somewhere. Oh, rings. Those are always nice things to have. I think I've gone way too far. Yeah, that's probably a good thought. Let me get the map going here on my... I really should have done that. I gotta love when you're not ready and you think you are. So, please stand by. I'm just gonna grab the map here real fast. Oh, okay, I didn't go past it. I just thought I did. Okay. I had the right idea. I just, I didn't trust myself enough. My memory is a piece of crud sometimes. Yeah, we got some new commands. Not, you know, I keep adding them in pairs because that's as fast as I can get them out. They're still just audio commands. I've been looking into how to make them visual, but I can't make any sense out of it. So for the moment being, I'm gonna die. Oh, whoops, wrong command. Yeah, I know, I died 0 times when I issued the how many times have I died command. Then I died. Oh boy. Blue spheres. I don't know how you guys in chat feel about,
No copyright law in the universe is going to stop me!
Oh, I think about that twice, Sega, because it certainly stopped you with this game. Thank you for the copyright usage. Yeah, that's a very good line from Roger Craig Smith in Sonic Colors. And yeah, as I said, Sega, really? Copyright laws certainly stopped you with this game for quite a good long while, because of Michael Jackson. And they still honestly stopped you because, this isn't quite right. Something is awry, with the music here, and that is that MJ, is, removed. Yeah, that command is very ironic in this game. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to bring it in for 3 and Knuckles, is because every time you use it, even if it's just the once, it's literally an instant joke, because it's just like, yeah, hate to tell you, Sonic, but it totally is going to stop you. Where the hell do I have to go now? Okay. That's all the tails I've got. Time to go get more tails. Alright. I haven't been in Mushroom Hill in a hot minute. You'll notice I'm gonna get all of the Super Emeralds very, very quickly. As I said with the Super form, which is definitely new to me, but as Tails, but the normal Chaos Emeralds, I get them as fast as I can because I only know where so many rings are. And especially in the second half of the game, I haven't memorized where a lot of the rings are, so I have to look them up. And that takes time. Time that I don't want to waste. Because you don't want to watch me doing literal nothing. Like, you can't see me looking up the map on my phone. So I'll try and make that as seamless as possible. I should know where most of these are by now, you'd think, but my memory, oh boy. Oh, and I did see, you sent me the, a new cover art for the Tails 30th. Oh, that looks amazing. I am so excited for the Tails 30th comic. I am going to order that and get a physical copy of it, because there's no way in heck that I am going to settle for digital when it comes to my two-tailed boy. Duke says, yeah, I swear there's like millions of special stage rings in this level. Yeah, there's 8 of them that I know of between the first and second acts of Angel Island. Or not Angel Island, Mushroom Hill, rather. Which is on Angel Island, so I guess I'm not wrong. I'm just not exactly right either. Yeah, there's a whole ton of them. I remember when I walked Super Nintendo 64 through this level, this is a nightmare, because if you don't know what you're doing, like S-Tails, it's easy, but if you're Sonic, that's very hard to do. I've done it a million times, so it probably wouldn't stop me for too long, but... 60 blue spheres to go. Yeah. And then how long is just the Sonic 06? How long is this gonna go on? Because I thought that would be fitting. Because there's gonna be moments where people are gonna want to say that when I just die over and over and over again, and it's like, holy crud, man! How long is this gonna take? Yeah. Oh, I went in the wrong way almost. Not that it would have hurt me, it just would have made this a little bit more difficult than it needs to be. These blue spheres are hard enough as it stands for me to make them more difficult on my own terms, you know? Why in the world would I do that? Oh, you're lucky, Juke. There is no comic shops near me at all. So definitely go grab it on day one. Because I'm sure it'll sell like hotcakes. And if it doesn't, what is wrong with the Tails fans in your area, or where are they? But yeah, I live in the absolute middle of nowhere, so I'm gonna have to order out for it, sadly. I wish I could just go to a comic shop and pick one up, but the closest one is probably, you know, a 200-mile round trip, give or take. Unless I go over into Canada, and I don't know what customs is like right now because of the pandemic and everything. Because I know you can get into Canada, but I'm pretty sure you still can't get back in a decent amount of time. I'd have to look all of that up. Meow? Where are the blue spheres? I need them. I really, really need them before I die, and I will die very soon. I know there's somewhere. That's not gonna help me, but I know there's somewhere. Alright, well, let's just go around the sphere in a generically straight line, because that way I can, like, eliminate directions. So, let's play this big-brained. This way? Alright, so that's there. So when I hit the yellow bumper, okay, so that line is clear. They've got, Juke says they have to drive an hour or two. Yeah. That's not horrible. Oh, come on! You've got to be kidding me! Well, I found the blue spheres, I just couldn't get them without dying. That sucks. But yeah, a couple hours. Honestly, if I really wanted to, I could just go. Because, like, 200 miles, it sounds like a lot, but you gotta think at 55 miles an hour, you're talking a couple hours, you know. It's 200 minutes, whatever that is. Almost 3. It'd be about 3 hours. So, I could do it. There's nothing really stopping me. It's just, when I can order it off of Amazon and have it at my door and just not have to do that, that's convenient. And I am a Prime member, so I can get, like, the release day delivery, so it'll be, like, at my door on release day, so I don't have to worry about it, like, coming a few days later. Juke says they were never good at blue spheres. I'd say I'm not bad at them, but then the game would just instantly prove me wrong like it did a few moments ago. So I'm gonna say that I'm okay at them. I've gotten better at them over the years. I used to be absolute crap at these. Because they're confusing, right? You know, it's a giant sphere. You get lost very easily, especially in the later stages, like right now. Did you know there's actually a entire game dedicated to blue spheres in the Sonic canon? If you locked Sonic 3 and Knuckles, or Sonic 3 rather, or was it Sonic and Knuckles? The lock-on half of Sonic 3 and Knuckles, it was Sonic and Knuckles now that I think about it. If you locked it onto any game that it couldn't, like, bond with, then you would get a randomized blue sphere stage, and then they actually made a game that was based on just a whole bunch of random blue sphere stages. I've only played a couple levels of that, and I'm absolute crap at it. Not gonna lie. Because, like, most of this is just muscle memory. That's how I, can, like, do this in a couple tries, is because I've done it enough times. I don't know who's trying to call me, but I'm busy. Presently occupied. It's no one in my contacts list, so not anybody of ridiculous amount of importance there. I don't even know if you're going to be able to see that, but it did it one day, and then it's not doing it now by the looks. I don't know. I think it's just the way I share my screen. Because I do have to share it a bit weird to get the Xbox. Yeah, it's really cool, but it's, like, it shares the same issue of Blue Sphere stages here. And actually it's in Sonic Mania, as a extra. Please don't die. But yeah, it's hard. And there really is no prize, except for it's just like, good job! You did it! Ah, yeah! I don't know. Half of the stuff that comes into my mind is just random memes. That's half the reason why I've started to implement commands, is it's just like, I want to be able to say a meme and then have someone, like, bark it into my ear, or have people themselves, you know, fooling around with some memes and having some fun. Because that's what we're here to do, okay? You know, have some fun. Yeah. There's a ladybug crawling up my wall. Not that you guys necessarily needed to know that, but it's just a random little factoid as I looked over onto my wall. The ladybugs here, I don't know why, they're kind of insane. They're usually, like, pretty scarce, but they've been all over the frickin' place this year. But as long as this one doesn't bug me, I'll leave it be. It's just fooling around on my wall. I think it's trying to investigate, like, a stray mark that's on my wall from, like, years ago, thinking that's, like, something it can eat. I should probably, like, stop watching my wall and start watching the Blue Sphere stage, you know. Even though I do have a little bit of muscle memory for these, that doesn't mean I can't, you know, completely mess this up. But yeah, if you took Sonic and Knuckles and locked it on with any other game that wasn't a Sonic game, basically, it would generate a Blue Sphere stage from the header code of the game that you locked on. And it was honestly really cool. Because if you don't know, the real ingenious behind lock-on technology is what it does is it reads the header of the cartridge you're plugging in, and then if it's Sonic 1, 2, or 3, then it triggers a special part that will combine the games. If it's not, then you just feed into the Blue Sphere generator. Yeah, the Ladybug Invasion. You're not very far off, Juke. You're not far off at all. Yep. So, I was trying to get, I almost had 3 because I was trying to have, because as you can tell by the stream name, one of the commands I really wanted was, an edit of, the song Power that is just, I've got the Prower instead of I've got the power, but I couldn't do it, fast enough. Given time, I'll be able to do it. It's just a matter of, you know, giving myself time, and that's more than, like, a couple of minutes. Excuse me. One thing that's really nice about Tails here is that it doesn't matter, how high up I'm gonna go here. Unless I completely mess it up? Question mark? The hell? Backtracking, everybody. Sorry. I missed what I was looking for. I think I was on the wrong path. Oh, poo. I thought I was doomed there. Because I was just like, oh, that's just gonna sling me around. Okay, so there's a climbing machine. I know where I am now. Okay. Yeah, I overshot it by quite a remarkable distance. I think I went over or under it. Welcome, Sayaka Yuki. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. If not, feel free to correct me. But welcome. How are you doing today? We're just playing some Tails and Sonic 3 Knuckles on Sonic Origins. It's a good game. This is my favorite classic game. Origins is not my favorite way to play it, but certainly a good way to do so. I need to install the mod that brings back the Michael Jackson music, and then this will be like 20 times better. Because that's like the thing that breaks it for me. Like, there's a few glitches and stuff. I can deal with that, but I'm glad to hear you're doing well, Sayaka. But yeah, so we've got some commands. They're in the pinned comment, so I don't have to keep using the command. And you are more than free to use those as you shall. I am 2 blue spheres short. Oh. Okay, that's all the blue spheres I've got. I've got to get back to playing the actual game. Ah, 3 coins, aka, what they're equating to a continue. Which I did realize I made a really dumb statement the other day, when I streamed this last week. I said, you know, like, oh, I wonder what would happen, you know, like, what you have to pay for continuing this. The answer is nothing, because there's no such things as lives in this version, at all. So there's no way for you to even need to continue. You just don't die. So the whole point of a continue is just like, oh, well, if you're out of lives, you can, keep going. Juke, this will be Hyper Tails. I always called his form that he achieves when he gets the Hyper Emeralds Hyper Tails, because A, that's what we call everybody else in the Hyper Emerald state, right? It's also, like, right in the name of the emeralds themselves, you know, they're Hyper Emeralds, not Super Emeralds, you know? Or, I don't know what the canon name for them is. They might be Super Emeralds. I don't freaking know anymore, but Super's already used. Let's just say that. Super is used. Super was taken. Yeah, this will be Hyper Tails. I called him that even before he had, like, a proper Super state, because I was just like, he just kind of skips over that state, you know? Yeah, I call them Hyper Emeralds. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think they are technically Super Emeralds. Which I think is dumb, because, like, you have the Chaos Emeralds which make you go Super, and the Super Emeralds that make you go Hyper. which is why I hit the edit button. Is it's just like, okay, Chaos Emeralds, I'm fine with those, just because I've been indoctrinated in the media about that, you know, before I was introduced to the idea. That's a good question, Juke. Canonicity, the property of being canon, that is a really big question, because it really depends on what canon you subscribe to. Like, if you're talking game canon, or IDW canon, or Archie canon, or the Sonic the Comic series over in Great Britain, if you're following that, you know, or the shows, or countless other media interpretations. I could literally go on all day about that, because there's so many different continuities, and they all have their own quote-unquote canon. And then there's the fans who say that things are canon aren't, and just, like, magically erase them from canon? I don't know. To me, the hyperforms, they happen, they're canon. That's pretty much my rule, is, like, if it happened in a game and there wasn't something to undo it, then it's canon. Like, to me, Sonic 06 is not canon, because, yeah, it happened, but at the end, it undoes itself. So it literally retcons itself, it has no effect. But these have an effect. This is the only way you can face Doomsday Zone and get, like, the true good ending of this game, so... People who say they aren't canon, I don't know what they were smoking. And yes, I know even some people at Sega have said that. Like, I don't know. It is a horribly confusing mess. And that's kind of what they're trying to do with, like, Tails Tube and Ian Flynn in general's purpose, is to bring sense, more or less, into the Sonic canon. You know, like, he's there to make things make more sense. And he's done an amazing job of it ever since Archie, when they brought him on for that. So I'd really like to see him put, like, a definitive answer to that question. Like, have them cover it in Tails Tube or something like that, you know? Because then we can just all stop talking about it and stop arguing about it. It's like... And it's not that I was saying that, you know, like, I'm arguing about it, but... Juke, yeah. 06 defeats its whole purpose, because, literally the whole game undoes everything it does at the beginning. Spoilers for, a decently old game. But at the end of Sonic 06, you extinguish Solaris, which is defined as a, you know, like this weird god that transcends time. Problem with transcending time and stuff like that is when you kill those creatures, it then undoes everything that you needed to get to that point. So it literally undoes the whole story that you just played through. Because you don't have to, you know, you don't need to time travel to deal with this thing, because it just doesn't exist anymore. So it's a horrible, confusing mess. There's also, like, really zero consequences to that at all. Like, 06 just does time travel with zero consequences, which is a very bad thing to do. When you're doing time travel, there should always be a consequence. Like, there needs to be this idea that, you know, you can cause a paradox or some butterfly effect that would result in things happening in ways that you wouldn't want them to. Because let's face it, time is not a manipulatable thing, as far as we as humans know it. And even if it is, it's incredibly rigid. So if you mess around with it, it's gonna mess back. Juke says they hate this level. Oh, this just got a little awkward, because this is, like, my favorite level of the game. But that's fair. Like, this is not, like, the easiest level of the game for sure. But the music is a jam. And it's just always, I love the aesthetic, it's my favorite level, but that doesn't mean you can't hate it. You know, my opinions do not void those of others by any means. I had to think about how to word that for a second, because I was just like, I don't want to accidentally, like, try and put people under the gun, but I was just like, oh no. I have a different opinion. And sometimes that can be a dangerous place to be in. It might also have to do with every time I get to Flying Battery, I already have Hyper. You know, like, I do this every single time I play the game. So it might just be the fact that I've used the ever-loving heck out of Hyper mode and just, you know, oh, that's a problem. Let's go Hyper and make it not exist anymore. Duke says, music's great, not a fan of the level design. That's fair. Some of the level design in Flying Battery is a little confusing. Because you don't really know what's gonna hurt you and what you have to grab onto, and like this hidden box right here, I used to think that this was a solid wall. Not gonna lie. So it is like a very, you have to have played the stage to play the stage, which is kind of bad level design, you know, that's the definition of it, really, is like, if you have to have this innate knowledge of how a level works before you can play it, then you're designing a bad level, but the music's great, you know, I definitely agree with you on that, but some of the design ideas were good. Oh, yeah. See, in Mania, this becomes a lot more of a problem. I usually still will have Super by that point. I usually have Super by the time I'm out of Studiopolis. But it does make it harder. And I have faced Flying Battery without Super in Mania, and that is torture. Especially because it's not like a pixel by pixel, you know, recreation of this. It's their own little take on it. So, the little tricks that I know for this Flying Battery, because I've played it a bazillion times, aren't going to work there. You know, they've changed it. Yeah, I've never, to be honest with you, like, I've never remembered them very well. As I said, I had to bring up a map of where the big rings are in this game. I didn't have to for, like, the whole first half of the game, because I could remember off the cuff, but, when you switch from Sonic 3 into Sonic and Knuckles, I just forgot, because it's been too long. And there's not enough memory in the Dylan memory card, you know. That thing has way too much random knowledge in it to store anything useful. Don't die. Oh, I think they might have patched that glitch. There used to be a glitch where if you spin dash there, you basically were guaranteed to die, and I forgot about it until it was way too late. Alright, like a solid 19-20 seconds of stream delay there. So that's the difference. I have to remember to flip that switch. Oh well. So yeah, everything you guys see happens like 20 seconds before it gets broadcast, because YouTube right now is inserting their own little processing delay. Yesterday I remembered to shut that off. Today I did not. Juke says they love Mania. I really wish it had new levels for the entire game. Yeah, I would have loved to see what Headcanon and Christian Whitehead's team would have done with just like, okay, well, we need to make entirely new levels. Like, don't get me wrong, some of the recreations of the old stages are absolutely breathtaking, and I love them to pieces. But I absolutely would have loved to see some more original stuff. Because we got, what, 2 zones, Studiopolis and Prescar in, that weren't redesigns of levels we'd already seen at one point or another. Like, obviously, they are redone. They aren't, like, copy-paste. But, you know, it's not like Sonic 4 levels of just, you know, oh, well, we're gonna blend these 2 levels together and you'll never know about it, and everybody just, like, instantly figures it out. And this. I'm sorry, like, not to get off of Mania, but this is one of my biggest gripes in this release of this. Like, just listen. This screams Sonic 4. I'm sorry. Sayaka, got something to say? You just had some dots. I admittedly thought there was a message there that was loading in, because sometimes it does that. Yeah, run, you fat, robotic doctor. Yeah, this super music, it's not good. That's no good. That's the other command I wanted to add. Damn it. But yeah, like, just listen, it's... Yeah, see, sometimes YouTube will display a message as 3 dots if it's, like, really long. It takes a second to load in. So I thought you, like, were sending, like, a paragraph to me, and I was like, oh, I probably ought to read that, and then it was just nothing. So that's my bad. I love the super flickies. That's one of the things that I love about Hypertails. Mirage Saloon, that's the one I was forgetting. See, I had a feeling I was forgetting one. But the rest of the game is just reused levels, which is yeah, it is somewhat disappointing, but I can't complain about Mania, man. I loved that game. I bought it twice. Because I have it both on my PC and on my Xbox. I got it on my Xbox first and then bought it on my PC for modding capabilities, which I have not used. Which is kind of funny, because I got it on sale, on a Steam sale, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna mod the hell out of this, because I already have, like, a guaranteed to work copy on my Xbox, you know. If it breaks, whatever. And then I never did that. I just played the game as vanilla, and, it... like, in unmodded mode, I guess I should say, because not as, like, Vanilla the Rabbit, but... Because I'm sure there's a mod for that. There's a mod for everything nowadays, which is great. They got it twice as well. Juke says they got it twice as well, but it's not perfect. Yeah, well, no game ever is, right? You know, there's always going to be that one thing that the developers overlook or that could have been done different, you know. Mania... How did I die? I'm watching that back, so there's going to be, like... You know, I'm going to keep my eyes on the playback for that one, because... I don't know how I just died there. I think I got crushed. That's so dumb. You have got to be kidding me with that death. Oh, Juke, this zone I will wholeheartedly agree with you on. Sandopolis, to quote Brent Zone over on Twitch, it's bad, it's coarse, it gets everywhere. Like, it's just not a good level. Duke says they're one big hater tonight. Hey, honestly, it's fair. Like, Flying Battery, I get it. I have nostalgia for that level. This level, I'm right there with you. I will join that hate train, because this level absolutely sucks. Land, please. Don't sting me. Oh. I spin dashed the wrong way. Yeah, don't worry about that. Unless you were, like, going overboard, I'm not gonna yell at you for, like, being like, oh, well, this sucks, because fair. You know? As I was just saying, no game is ever perfect, you know? There's always that one thing that we wish the developers would have done differently, you know? There is nothing up there. I don't know why I thought it was. Yeah, it is slow. And in a Sonic game, that's never a good thing. Like, Sonic games are all about going fast, right? Like, that's the whole point. And, like, I don't mind levels that are a little bit more, like, puzzle-oriented. But levels like this where it's just like, so slow. And when we hit the boss, man, how you beat the Sandopolis boss is so stupid, because you literally have to lure it into the sand pit for it to die. Like, you can't hit it. That'll just make it take longer. And it is the dumbest boss ever. Like, I get the whole idea of bosses having to kill themselves, like they're the only thing stronger enough to do it, but don't do it like that. And like, I'll have the same complaint when we get to Lava Reef and I have to do the little egg machine that spits out cannonballs at you, because it's just like, you just sit there. Especially if you have the fire shield, which you can get like literally right before it. You just sit there and let him destroy himself and don't even have to like participate in the game at all. Like, really? It's more or less like Sonic Team was like, okay, that's all the boss you got. Credit to Reggie Fils-Aimé, everybody. That's who I'm referencing anytime I have a, okay, that's all the anything I've got references, the famous, PR rep for, Nintendo. He's a good man. Oh, I was right there. There was a big ring right there. I could just hyper through this. That would have made this a little bit easier. Ah, poo. Yeah, I'm hoping to finish this tonight. If I die too much, that's not happening. Just saying that. Like, I said that last time I did this too, because I was like, oh, well, that, 2 hours should be plenty. No. It was not. It was about half plenty. So, I'm thinking now that we have another 2 hours, we should be fine? Question mark? But I have to do, like, the final boss and stuff. Oh, yeah, this level, as you were saying, it's a slog, it drags so bad. Like, this level did not need to be as long as it is. The devs were really kind of unforgiving about it, Like, more or less, this is the labyrinth zone of Sonic 3&K. Like, it's the one level that almost everybody hates because of its main mechanic. Like, in labyrinth zone, it was the water. That's really not a problem here in S3&K, we've kind of refined that enough, but all these sand mechanics, it's just like, why? Like, those stupid walls that just pop up and stop you for a solid second, like, what's the point? To halt your momentum in a game where it's literally all about, like, having momentum? It defeats the purpose. Not to say it's, like, as I said, Sonic 3 Knuckles is still, like, my favorite entry in the series. It always will be, because it's the one that introduced me to Tails, It's the one that made me a Tails fan, Like, I love my little flying orange fox boy, but some of the things that they did in this game are just not... Yeah, this boss battle right here, like, my hands are off the controller right now. You literally have to, kind of wait for this guy to spawn in and decide that he wants to attack you. And then you can't hit him, because if you hit him, then he'll despawn. And then you just wait. I'm waiting. This level has all the issues that every level after Green Hill has in Sonic 1. Yes, though admittedly in Origins they kind of fixed that because they introduced the spin dash. The spin dash hilariously, don't go that way, hilariously fixes a lot of issues with Sonic 1, because you can go fast again at the blink of an eye. You don't have to really wait for momentum to build. You have a way to get momentum. Yeah, it's that is Dwayne the Rock Johnson, damn, as the literal Rock. I can't say his name, but I do know who he is. I don't know why I slipped up on that. Voice slipped, y'all saw it. I think I was trying to say it too fast. That's a problem I have, is I try and get things out too fast. Duke says that I killed Black Adam. Well, if that movie is half as bad as I've heard it is, or as mediocre, I guess, as I've heard it is, that's really no crying shame, you know? Like Vindo was saying the other day, it's an okay film. I haven't seen it personally, so I can't judge it, but I've heard very mixed reviews, ranging from no to eh. You know. But Black Adam is Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, so, you know, it has that going for it. Any film with The Rock in it, like, that's one of the things that it has going for it. I still admittedly wish we would have gotten, like, a sample of what it would have sounded like if Knuckles was The Rock. Because I know for a little bit, before the Sonic movie 2 was released, that we all were thinking, you know, oh, who's going to voice Knuckles? And one of the suggestions was Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. And I was like, dang, you know, that's going to be epic if it happens. And it didn't, but I still would have liked to hear it. Duke says it's not a masterpiece, but it's dumb fun, better than Marvel stuff that's happened this year, in his opinion. Yeah, that's fair. I haven't watched any of the recent Marvel stuff. Once Endgame happened, I'm kind of like Skull 902 on this, honestly. Like, once, Endgame happened, I seriously thought that was going to be the end. Like, it ties everything up, you know? Everything's done. We don't need any more Marvel stuff because it's done. We had the end. You know, every good story has to have an end. And then Disney was like, but no, money. I was just tall enough. See, I was watching Char I5 earlier, and he said that was a Sonic 1 exclusive glitch. I'd like to point out that it's not. Yeah, so Tails was just tall enough in his spinning form to get crushed, but simultaneously just short enough to be allowed passage. Duke hasn't been feeling the MCU since Endgame anyhow, so they're not going to waste their time with it. Yeah, basically, like, I've watched some of the offshoots, not many of them, mostly because of time constraints. But, like, I don't really have any reason to, like... Okay. Spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. Because Endgame is still recent. So if you don't want Endgame spoilers, please mute the stream now. Okay, now that we're clear, Captain America and Iron Man are both more or less dead. Like, Iron Man is definitely dead, and Captain America got sent back in time. Those are my two favorite characters that are literally removed from the plot. So, when Endgame happened and they got removed from the plot, all of my interest in the MCU died right there. So I was just like, those are my two favorite characters, and they're just dead. Okay, spoiler over. Yeah, so there are definitely things that happen in that movie that make me kind of get turned off, you know? As I said, you know, it seems like an end. Duke says they're definitely biased toward Black Adam. It brought the JSA into the movies, and that really makes him happy. I don't know what the JSA is, admittedly. I'm not very, like, uppity on, oh, but they butchered Moon Knight as a character, and Duke won't forget him for that. Oof. Yeah, you gotta hate when they butcher one of your favorite characters. Tails and Forces. But yeah, like, thank you for admitting your bias, because not many people do that. A lot of people are like, well, I just think this is great, and everybody else who thinks that way is also right, and then anyone else who thinks the opposite is wrong. So thank you for admitting that, you know, that's a bias that you have. That's very big of you. And it's very, you know, that's fair. You know, like, if you're like, oh my god, they finally brought the JSA into the movies, like, with Sonic the movie too. You know, I've heard arguments that it's not, you know, that's worse than the first Sonic movie, and I'm very biased, because I love that it brings gun into the mix, the Guardian Units of Nations. I love that there's a little bit more screen time for my favorite Fox boy. I wish there would have been more of it, admittedly, because Tails doesn't see much really active screen time. Duke says the Justice Society of America. Oh! Okay, I know who they are. I didn't put it together. Yeah, I do know who they are. That's cool. But yeah, a lot of times, movies especially nowadays, the biggest issue with them is time constraint, right? Like, you have 2 hours, give or take, to introduce whatever you've got. And when you've got, like, something that has a lot of lore behind it, that's not enough time. Like, in Sonic 2, I will very much admit that Sonic 2 has a lot of lore that is missing, that you won't get unless you're a Sonic fan, you know? Like, in Sonic Movie 1, a lot of that lore was just in the sense of cameos. Like, you saw the little emblem sticker in the background of the bar, or you saw, like, this random reference. But if you didn't get them, it wasn't, like, the end of the day, you know, the end of the movie for you. You know, you could still keep on watching and have everything make perfect sense. Sonic Movie 2 really relies on the fact that you have somewhat of an understanding of what the Master Emerald is and what it does. Because even though they did kind of reinvent what the Master Emerald is, it still does the same thing at the end of the day. It controls the Chaos Emerald's power. And they really could have explained it a lot better than they did. Because they just basically give Tails temporary omnipotence, which is fine because he's a smart guy, but he just, for some reason, happens to know all about this secret gem that supposedly doesn't exist. That just seems like a random thing for him to know about. Like, if it doesn't exist, then why did he study it? You know, why does he know about it? Duke says Moon Knight's one of his favorites, and they basically disregarded the comics to do their own thing, and it's really bad. Yeah, I know similar feelings with characters that they just... various franchises have just decided to overhaul. Whenever they do that, it's always a harsh thing, right? You know? Because you're getting rid of whatever it was that the character was defined by before, you know? You're starting over, more or less. I'm going in circles. I just realized that. So, like, the people who love that character for who they are, they're done, you know? They're not gonna stick around. You know, they were there for that character as they stood, you know? There's no reason for them to stick around for something that's not that. Like, with me, one of my favorite reasons, for, like, Captain America in, the Marvel Universe is he's basically just... It's kind of like Batman, where it's just like, he's a random dude, you know? He's just a random dude that had things happen to him that gave him an advantage over others, and, like, he's still, to this day, like, more or less not used to it. Like, he's just unnaturally jacked and, like, doesn't really know what to do with it half the time. And it's funny. And when they portray him as, like, overly confident, it, like, undoes a lot of it. Sayaka says they've never seen Moon Knight. That's fair. I've never seen Moon Knight either. But yeah, I'm sorry that they, long story short, I'm sorry that they ruined, them for you. Like, that's horrible. Sometimes, like, obviously authors privilege, the artistic license is a thing, you know, like, obviously. But, it is a very dangerous thing, and it's something that you have to use with a little caution label on it. Like, you apply it very specifically, and it works well, you know? I've seen a bunch of fanfics that are, like, redo certain things about Sonic and Tails that, like, make them better characters that I love. But there's also ones that, like, completely ignore the characters who they are, and that sucks. Duke is just saying, save yourself and skip it. Yeah, apparently it wasn't very good. Like, obviously, watch it if you want to, Sayaka. I haven't seen it, so I can't chime in here. But apparently, Duke is putting a coin, his 2-cent coin, into the don't bother box. It just literally skips the final fight. What's the point? That'd be like if I just decided to go all the way to Death Egg Zone, but the second we got to the Death Egg robot, I just ended the stream right there, and didn't ever come back to it, you know? Like, that would be so pointless, you know? It leaves so many things untied, you know? Like, the final boss is literally, it's that for a reason. You know? I don't... Some final fights are not important, but I'm imagining that, especially, like, for a movie, that's, you know, that's how you get to the end, is like, oh, well, the big bad got defeated, you know? You finally put rest to whatever it was that you made, the whole rest of the movie about, you know? You can't make a movie on nothing. Well, you shouldn't make a movie on nothing, let me put it that way, because there's certainly been movies on nothing. But every good movie will have, you know, some sort of event that makes it so that the movie has reason to exist. And, you know, the movie ends when that threat or force or whatever ceases to exist, you know? And you might say, oh, well, what about movies in a series? Well, even then, you know, like, you'll notice that there's always, you know, like, a certain task that needs to be done for that part of the series to move on. Like, in Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, or Sorcerer's Stone, whichever you call it, you have the Sorcerer's Stone, you have some of the characterization for Voldemort, you know, you have a lot of really interesting things that are set up that have to be for it to move forward. Juke says that they set Moon Knight up as a huge climactic battle at the end, and it just skips the entire thing. Show built up to it for 6 episodes. Man. If you don't mind me asking, how long were the episodes? Were they half hour or hour? Because sometimes they are hour episodes, especially when you're talking Marvel. Because that will somewhat affect my response. Not much. Because that's just generically bad either way. But if they're like 6 one-hour episodes, what the hell? So, I'll keep an eye for that answer and get back on that. But yeah, I don't know. Sometimes movie companies are just dumb. Between 40 and 50 minutes. Okay, so like an hour minus commercials. Yeah, that's horrible. Why? If you're gonna spend 6 hours of my life explaining to me about this big bad, then there better frickin' be a reason for it, you know? It shouldn't just, you know, magically disappear. Like, as I said, that'd be like if I skipped, that'd be more or less like I skipped the entirety of the Death Egg Zone. Like, I just showed you the Death Egg and then end game, you know? You know, all of this build-up, all of this tension, all of this, you know, story building for literal nothing. And even like 20 to 30, you know, a half-hour show minus commercials, that's still 3 hours of your life that they've spent explaining something, you know? It shouldn't be for nothing. Like, at that point, I would be a little more okay with it not, like, having to be a battle, per se, or not having to, like, be the main focus. But it should be something, you know? Like, think the whole Cruxes in Harry Potter, if you're a Harry Potter fan, you know? Like, they spend so much time explaining what those are because they're important to the main plot. Is it part of a huge fight? Not really. Like, there's one that is, but that's about it. Welcome, Mr. Scoot. How are you? Thank you for joining in. Duke says it's admittedly been 8 months, yeah. Feel free to use the memory command if you're having a memory moment. Because sometimes I have serious short-term memory loss. And I have serious short-term memory loss. poor Tails. He gets a lot of credit in that show. Like, he gets split into several parts. He gets just, you know, he gets a crush and then made fun of for having a crush. That episode is so horrible. I'm not gonna lie, because it's just like, really? You know? What do you mean, we? I guess now you're a part of the we, Mr. Scoot, you know? The members of the chat. Thank you for using that command. I love that line in Sonic Movie 2 for one reason. And, well, two. One, it's a good line. Two, not too long after I saw Sonic Movie 2 in theaters, it became... Oh, and I have serious short-term memory loss. One of my professors, I was arguing with them about a project and the fact that it wouldn't work. And he said, oh, you know, we'll figure it out. And I was like, you know, I'd already been doing everything I needed to do. So I responded with that line. I was like, what do you mean, we? Because that was totally a him problem. Fudge. Hot fudge cakes. I have chocolate pie in the fridge. I have to remember that. I made chocolate pie earlier. Saying fudge apparently reminded me of that. I guess because fudge can be chocolate, it doesn't have to be, but why wouldn't it be? Okay, so random interaction question here. Participate if you want. What are you guys' favorite, you know, like, snacks or candy? Like, for me, I love me some Kit Kats. I love York peppermint patties. Those things are epic because it's like, it's mint and chocolate. How can you go wrong, you know? And I'm also a fan of Whoppers malted milk balls. Those are really good. I can eat those by the carton. Like, all of those candies I can just devour by the insert container size here, you know? So what is it for you guys? You know, what's the one candy or snack that you're just like, oh, I could just devour a whole box of it, or a carton of it, or however it gets distributed. Sayaka says Reese's and chips. Good choices. Any specific kind of chips, if you don't mind me asking? Like, there's a lot of different kinds of chips. And Reese's are good. I'm not as big a fan of them as one of my other family members is. One of my family members is an absolute peanut butter-aholic. And they love Reese's. And anything to do with peanut butter and chocolate, because it's just like their two favorite things combined. Juke says they like the chocolate with nuts in it. Oh, like an Almond Joy sort of thing, or doesn't matter the brand, they're not picky. Yeah, that's a good way to be. Yeah, I'm not very picky either, not gonna lie. If you put chocolate in front of my face and it's not, like, absolutely abhorrent, I'm gonna eat it. But yeah, that's a good choice. Or those Hershey's almond bars. Those are really good. Sayaka says they just eat some Lay's. Those are good chips. I always go for sour cream and onion, personally. That's just my flavor. But I'm not all that picky. Like, I don't like barbecue, but that's just a personal thing. Let's walk up some stairs. Duke says they're really picky with movies and shows, though, if I couldn't tell. I got the feeling. There's nothing wrong with being picky, though. In my opinion. Other people will tell you differently, so don't use that as a wild card excuse. But you like what you like, right? You know, so you have the right to be picky, you know? like, I mentioned it, and I'm sorry to be that Sonic fan to bash on Forces, but Forces had a lot of great ideas. I'll give it that. That's a positive thing I'll say about it, and positivity. They absolutely ruined Tails in that. Like, Tails, why didn't you just fly away? Sayaka, that's absolutely fine too. You know, like, not being picky is also fine. You know, I wasn't saying, you know, you have to be picky. I was just saying, you know, if you are picky, that's perfectly fine. You know, if you just generically don't care, that's just as fair, you know, and honestly is probably better for you in the long run, you know, because you can just, you know, kind of put up with whatever and not care. And I'd be willing to wager that there's something that you are picky about. Like, I can't guarantee that, but I'd be willing to wager that there's, like, at least one thing that you have to have a certain way. Because everybody has that thing, right? You know, with me, I have a whole bunch of them, but everybody has at least one thing that they are, like, totally blindfolded with, you know. Sayaka, thank you for understanding. I didn't want you thinking that I was, like, trying to shoot you down, because I do come off wrong sometimes. I try and keep my wording, like, generically open, and generically, like, nice, but sometimes I miss the mark. That's just me covering my own rear end, really. Oh boy, we've got a lot of game to get through in an hour. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this. Yeah, I know, Tails, you're tired. Wake up. Tails is always tired. He just doesn't get enough sleep, I guess. You guys in the chat, another little, you know, interactive bit here. Favorite Sonic characters? Obviously mine is Miles Tails Prower. He reminds me so much of myself. Duke says they're worth with games, but to be fair, games are so expensive, so they think you can be a little mean if they wasted $60. Yeah, see, games are fair, because, like, you're paying a decent amount of money for them. You should get an experience that you can walk out of and be glad that you went into it for that much. You know, you're paying for at you know, $10 an hour, 6 hours of something, you know, and that's just a nice even number. I know it's less than minimum wage. Sayaka says Blaze and Silver. Fair picks. Blaze is my favorite Sonic series female. Much for the same reason that Tails is my favorite Sonic series male and overall Sonic character. Because she's been, like, through heck and back and, like, doesn't give up. And that's the kind of character that I love, is the ones that you can put through literal hell. In the case of Blaze, like, literal freaking hell. And she's all the better for it. Duke says the question's hard. That's fair, man. If you don't have an answer, that's perfectly respectable. I'm just trying to spark some conversation, because I know listening to someone talk to themselves is not, you know, the most interesting of things, so I figured, you know, I'll get you guys involved in it a little bit, you know. Put a question mark on some of the stuff that just randomly happens into my brain. But yeah. And Silver, I like the idea. What I've seen of Silver, sadly, is, you know, not great. But he certainly has a lot of potential, and I'd love to see him more. Juke says, Gamma and Big for him, Shadow can be an honorable mention. Nice. Gamma, oh boy. I, like everybody else, teared up at the end of Amy's story in Sonic Adventure. When, spoilers for, you know, 21-year game, or give or take, Gamma dies. You know, like, I just got Eggman twice in a row. You've got to be shitting me. Okay, I'm just gonna try one more time. Yeah, Gamma's story And, like, his theme song, too. Like, if you listen to his theme song, it's literally, like, him telling Egghead that he's willing to die for him. Like, he has no issues at all giving his life, which I get it. It's an Asimov's Law implication, you know. Robots have to serve their masters, and if their master's life is at risk, then they have to put themselves at risk. Yes, Sayaka. Remind me when I'm through Hidden Palace, and I'll go grab it. But yeah, Gamma's theme literally talks about him being okay about dying. No, he's just like, yep, I get it. I had to die for the greater good. I'm cool with this. So, as a kid, I don't know how, you know, young you were, but that would have hit a lot harder. Like, for me, it still hit hard. I definitely shed some tears. Yeah, and that Juke is really like a deep story, right? Like, he's killing his brethren, his robotic brethren, to set the birds inside free. And it's such a weird implication. I paused this random talking. I love how in this version, it's guaranteed that you see the emeralds as they are. In the original, it happened sometimes, you know, it was kind of glitchy. I'm not even gonna bother trying to save Knuckles, because you can't. You deserve to get electrocuted. But yeah, he sets his brothers free. Okay, just open the door. Open the door, please. Come on, Knucklehead. Let's go! We don't have all day! Alright, we're gonna pause here for just a second before I forget, and I'm gonna grab Gamma's theme. So obviously, like, for a little bit, it's just like this weird metallic-y, you know, just setting the theme that he's a robot, right? But listen. It's my pleasure, ready to die. Yeah. Pretty big implications there. Speaking of big, Big's just relatable. Yeah, he can be. Juke, I like to fish, I'm fat, and I respect others. I love how you just own that. Like, I pictured that, like, you're just doing the Superman pose and, like, owning right up to that with no issues at all, and I love it. But yeah, Big is a good guy. Are you gonna wave me off, or are you gonna just sit there with me? Okay, thank you. Sayaka says that they respect others, but they don't fish. That's fine. I'd much rather you not fish than not respect others. Respecting others is a thing you should do. Like I said on my Unleashed stream yesterday, you shouldn't have to apologize for who you are, and people shouldn't make it hell, more or less, for you to be you, you know? Like, unless you're doing harm to other people, obviously, then there's really no reason for it. Duke says, yeah, they're pretty chill about everything. I kind of got that vibe from that. I was just like, I know I don't get, you know, the context clues and the intonation of it to really judge, you know, how that came across. But I just pictured it as just, you know, I don't care, you know, I'm cool with that, you know. You know where you stand and you're good with that, and that's a great way to be. Honestly, I try to be that way. Let's put it that way. I don't always succeed at it because I don't love who I am all the time. Yeah, Juke, it is decently hard to make me dislike someone. Like, I try and give everyone a fair chance. Lying to me is an instant, like, you're out, you know. No, you know, ifs, ands, or buts. Like, unless you have a dang good reason for it. I've had quote-unquote friendships that ended thanks to lies. And as far as rude stuff goes, yeah, just don't do it. You know, it's not hard. You know, most of the time it's just like, either just don't do it or do something better. I don't know if anyone watching has played Everspace, but one of my favorite lines in that game is when Hive, the game's AI, just tell, you know, you're doing really bad, and the only piece of advice that your AI assistant will give you is, do better! So yeah, that's my advice to people who are rude and doing like horrible things. Do better. Duke says, so have they. As far as where a bad place to make friends is, that depends really. Like, yeah, Discord can be weird. Online relationships are definitely a little bit different than in-person ones, but I've had in-person relationships go just as bad, if not worse, than online ones. It all depends on the people. You know, if you meet a really bad person, it doesn't matter if they're online or in real life, you know. They're still bad people. Sayaka, or in a bad mood. Neutral face are expressionless. That's fair. Finding someone in a bad mood, if they're like overtly in a bad mood, can ruin your whole day, because it's like, oh, well, not only are you in a bad mood, but you're gonna make sure that everybody else around you is in a bad mood, and that's no good. That's no good. Alright, give me a second here, folks.